I was not. I was not napping. I was not eating. Okay, it was simply my bad. I got my wires crossed. You deal with people around the world. That's why we need really one time zone. I don't understand multiple time zones, especially here in the States. It makes no sense for me. Anywho, I got big sis here. Sis, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How you doing?
No, no, I'm good. No, thank you. I want to get right into it.
Okay.
You are deeply, deeply immersed in Angelino politics. I just know from outside looking in, what is the scene like down there? What's the fever pitch? What are the people saying? How are you feeling about what's going on right now?
I'm in a mixed bag because I'm seeing a lot of I was surprised honestly to see a lot of promotion for Spencer Pratt,
Okay.
who was running for mayor. I didn't even know he was running until I kept driving on the freeway and I'm start seeing these like AI generated signs while I'm passing by and I'm like, who is this? And he looks different now from what I remember him years ago on the reality show. So I was just like, who is this guy? So I looked him up. I said, is that the Spencer? And then I looked him up. I said, oh wow, really? And then I said, um, me and my best friend, we always talking politics. She lives in Detroit, so we always rapping about stuff that's going on. And I said, I'm gonna look him up and see what his background is. And then when I saw, oh, okay, he has a degree from USC in
Okay.
political science. I said, okay,
I did not know
but
none of that. Wow.
yeah, but I was like, what kind of other work has he done, or any organizations, any volunteerism he's doing? And I didn't really see none of that. I just saw more of the fluff, which
Mhm.
we've been pounded into for, I feel like, the last 10, 11 years of this influencer style politics. And I just said, figure, okay, it is what it is. But I started paying attention more when, like, the week before voting, and they were talking about how he's gaining lead or how he was getting endorsed by Trump. And I was like, oh, okay, this is serious. And then as I was going in my neighborhood doing day to day stuff, I would see certain houses with a Spencer Pratt sign. I'm like, for mayor. And I'm like, are y'all serious? You know, y'all property tax is high, right? I know these homes in my area. I'm a renter, so I'm not an owner. I wish I
Right.
was, but even in my town, or the outskirts of LA, the houses now are going from a good 900,000 to a million, and if it's
Yeah.
renovated, a million plus. You know, um, I'm sandwiched in between two areas. I'm in between Long Beach with the bridge, and then I'm sandwiched by the wealthy area of Palos Verdes. And Palos Verdes Estate, Rolling Hills. Trump does have his golf course over there.
Yes, he
So
does.
those, yeah, so those houses are, I love that area. It's so beautiful. Those houses are like 1.5, 2 million on up. So and I'm in San Pedro, so as it goes in certain parts of San Pedro, especially the coastal area which I'm in, the prices are going up, and
Right.
most people here are working class or they work at the port, and or like teachers, everyday middle class, working class people. So I was surprised to see those signs in certain neighborhood of my neighborhood, because I'm like, are we not aware of what's going on federally and how it's impacting us? So, yeah. So I mean, and normally I try to stay out of it in like conversations and chats. Um, and even in your chat, I know you got some supporters. I see, I seen last year, seen year before. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep mum because just to keep the peace and the woosah. And I like a lot of those people. So I'm like, okay, your opinion, I don't want to argue religion or politics with you because you're gonna believe what you believe. However, when I start seeing something in there like, yeah, I'm going for Pratt, I said, oh no, I gotta say something now. This is nope, because we're not
Okay, so this is exactly why I have you up. Please educate me because I didn't know he had a poli sci degree. That's the
Mhm.
first thing. Second thing is, I believe uh, Karen and the Indian woman pretty much
Neither.
won the runoff.
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm hearing rumblings. People were like, "No, that's the way she came back towards the very end of the." And now I'm like, okay, I will never say there's not voting fraud. What I tell people is at the ballot, you're not going to, that's not where it takes place. It takes place when they go to the warehouse to count the votes.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand or having a working grasp of how the ballot system works. It's not us. No one's coming with 50, 7,500
No.
ballots and stuff in the, that's not what that means.
Mm.
That's not what that is. But so you saw Spencer Pratt for what he was. I'm looking at it like, okay, well, he's a man of the people. He lost a house in a fire. Who's not going to relate to that? But you saw the writing on the wall because was it the Trump endorsement that did it for you, or was it something else you saw, or a combination of both?
Combination of both.
Okay.
So first off, and I'm sensitive to that because I have my aunt's friend who lived in Altadena. She lost her house, and actually, my aunt house that she grew up in is gone.
I'm sorry to hear
So
that.
they both, yeah, and both of them they have, but her friend who still lived there. There's many other residents that have lost their house in those fires, and I didn't see him go to those communities. And a lot of those in that communities are people of color
Okay.
as
Okay.
well. I will shout out Eric Sawa, not to sidetrack, but I mean, I wish he just stayed in regardless of what happened. But I remember him going there first to talk to the residents and surveying the sites. And I said, well, why is he doing that? And I thought about it and I was like, oh, he's running for governor. I said, that was smart.
Hmm.
Instead of going to Pacific Palisades, which is more of the wealthy or the Hollywood people, he went over there to the middle class people. Um, Spencer, I didn't see do all of that.
Okay.
I just seen him like go to these popular places where people are frustrated, like with the temp encampments, the Skid Row.
Okay.
And my attitude was Skid Rowing since I've been existing, and you was just come out here and visit as a kid. I remember Skid Row. It is. So all these mayors that we had over the past 30, 40 years now, because the 80s is 40 years, what did they do? Why didn't they fix it then? Why
I
didn't
don't remember it ever not existing, so I can't remember a time when
exactly.
I came out here. It's like everyone knows what Skid Row is. I just okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, no, you're fine. So I was thinking like, okay, so he's running on this thing that I'm noticing like a lot of the right, far right is running on this fear campaign, this anger campaign, to get people incited. But my thing is, do you have a team? Who are the people going to be behind you to really fix this stuff? And
Okay.
I just didn't see that he had that. And that concerned me because I'm like, he could say all this stuff. He can go visit those places. He even had a woman that came on there. They showed him talk to this woman. This older lady was complaining about her daughter is homeless and she didn't mentally ill, and she wants this problem fixed, and she don't trust Karen Bass to do it because she should have done it. And I'm looking at the lady like, well, obviously, if you try several times to get your daughter out of that situation, then that's not Karen Bass' fault. At
Okay.
this point, something is a disconnect, and it's
Okay.
obviously she, and I don't want to sound harsh, she's in a position where she feel like she needs to be there, or you're not doing enough as that parent to get her up out of there or get the resources needed in social services to yank her up out of there. So that was my, and then Spencer had this kind of like dumbfounded look like, oh yeah, 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 I agree, I'm gonna fix this. And I'm looking at him like, you ain't gonna do nothing
Okay.
because you got other things to do. LA is a big city, and it's not just Westwood, Santa Monica, Venice. It's not Brentwood. It's not Beverly Hills. It's not Hollywood. You got all these other communities between Wilmington, San Pedro. I think Compton got their own mayor, but Rancho Dominguez. You got I think Gardena has their own too. May be mistaken, but you got all these other communities in between, and you're talking about you're going to be able to fix these problems in the budget and stuff. So I'm like, I don't think he could do it. That's just my honest opinion.
Let me deviate a little bit. Can
Sure.
you speak to? I mean, because I consider people like you and a couple other subbies that I have that are living good, maybe well in California, especially SoCal. I don't think the average person has any godly idea what that means or what that requires. Can you speak to what it takes for a black person,
Mhm.
man or woman, to live well in California?
Definitely, I feel like. I thank the universe for still keeping me here because there's been times I've been wanting to pack up that what they call it, the chuck wagon and kind
Yeah.
of trail on off. Um, but it takes a lot of work. You're right because a lot of us, you see, they're moving to like Riverside County. They're moving out to not even the valley. They're just moving out to County. Forgot the other one, but it's like Ontario. Like they're
Mhm.
moving further out the outskirts of Los Angeles, and um, you definitely have community support. I'm a veteran, so I really rely on my veteran resources and
Okay. Thank you for your
community of
service.
people.
Okay.
Thank you. I know you said about women in service, right? So I'm
Hey,
not just
well, listen.
I'm just messing with
Every,
you.
I'm not gonna go there. Stall me out. Stall me out.
Yeah, I just we're all a team. We're all a team. But
I,
yeah, I definitely it is a camaraderie of people, no matter what their background is, they're like a family,
okay.
and there's always resources to support each other. And there's also benefits to being a veteran as well, whether you're owning your own business or whether you're going back to school. And I relied on those things to help me. Just like now, with education, I'm going back, getting a certification and at UCLA, and they're helping
Nice.
me.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a day by day.
Okay.
But I would say the same thing with the Mexican American community. What I observe, because it's this heavily populated in my area of San Pedro, is they look out for each other.
Okay.
They support each other. Not saying other people don't, but they're gonna look there. It's a community, and I think that's how we have to do more. It's we're getting sparse, but if we stay together, I feel like that it will work in our favor.
Do you ever get shamed by other blacks for not leaving?
Yeah. Just like we
Why
thought I
is
was in
that?
Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah. What?
Yeah, my family in Atlanta, like, you should come down, B. You should have been here. And I'm like, I know, but I just Cali has his own vibe, you know. I get it.
Yeah. I don't think people like. I used to live in Atlanta. I was like, I got there maybe 15 years too late.
Oh,
I
okay.
got there in '08. And I was talking
Okay.
to my sister because she went to Georgia State. She got her master's from Georgia State. And this was
Mhm.
back in the early 90s when Atlanta was
Oh
Atlanta.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
when I decided to move, she's like, I don't know, little bro. I think you might have got there a little bit late. I was like, oh, that'd be okay. It'll be, I'm running around with, Dungeon Family and Outkast and those guys. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah. Da, da,
yeah,
da,
yeah.
da.
No?
She was right. I was like,
Oh
yeah, I got
wow.
the whole, that was the first time I ever had a business meeting in a strip club. I'm like, what type of culture is this? Like, this was all brand new to me. Now, mind you, I'm in the music business. And I'm like,
Yeah.
who has meetings at 3 a.m. in the strip? And
Oh
just
wow, 3 a.m.
and so much gatekeeping by other blacks was very disturbing to me. Like, we complain about white folks all day, and I'm like,
Right.
have you gone to Atlanta?
Mm.
I don't want to turn this into an Atlanta thing, but I'm shocked at all the, I guess, like the shaming rhetoric. Like, why are you in California? Why? It's so expensive. Okay, well, obviously I can afford to live here. I'm not saying it's a flex for us to live
Right.
here and live well. I don't promote that. I'm just
Right.
saying I can afford. Do I want my dollar to stretch? Yes. High
Yes.
property taxes? Yes. Special gas blend? Yes. There's a lot of problems I can complain about, but it's been good to me.
Right.
Um.
And that's what, yeah, that works for you.
Okay. So let's get to Karen Bass.
Okay.
I think she's gonna win.
You know?
You think the Indians gonna win?
Looking at her background.
I only say this because now was she not a former worker of? I'm talking about I forget her name. I don't want to reduce her to just
Oh,
an
Nita
Indian
Rama?
woman. Yes,
Mhm.
was she not a former? I don't know what term I'm looking for. A
Oh, city
worker of.
council? Council?
Yeah, and I ran into somebody who's an Indian. He's like, oh, she's a turncoat, and I'm like, well, what makes you say that? And he was like, the fact that she worked for them, and not a whole lot, but a few Indians feel like she's a turncoat for what she's doing, because they're like, we don't want to rock the boat. We just want to get in and do our thing and not want the spotlight. And it's
Mhm.
like they're saying, well, she wants the spotlight, and that's not good for them, because then it puts all Indians under a microscope. And I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't think about it like that. Okay, so you don't think she's gonna win? You think Nina's gonna win?
Only reason is because I looked at her age, not to judge the age, but
Okay.
uh she's in her 40s. She is a progressive
Okay.
Democrat. And progressive here is huge. And I found out she's into environmentalists. And, especially in my area, environmentalists run California. They run
Mhm.
the city, they run the city council. I'm in this um, local, what they call neighborhood council. So I'm a board member. We get elected just like everybody else, and we do our term. But ours is volunteer. We don't get paid.
Okay.
So we work directly with the city, with the councilman, and then the councilman works with the city, with the mayor. And a lot of the environmental people that are in my neighborhood council, they are very, that's their priority out of
Okay.
everything else.
Okay.
Out of homelessness, because we had a homeless committee that kind of fell apart, but we have someone else who's like taking over. But I want to say that. What other committee? We don't have an arts committee anymore. The person left, but no one's bringing it to the front to say, "Hey, we need this." But the ones that are staying alive in my neighborhood council is environmental, land and planning use, and
Okay.
the port.
Okay.
And of course, the port makes sense. But the environmental, I didn't realize how important. I realized it was important, but I didn't realize how much clout they have until I went to my congresswoman's what is it, town hall. She had a town hall last month,
Okay.
and come to find out, she's an environmentalist as well. And a lot of questions that were asked were about the environment and the Epstein files. And then um also, what did she do? She made a comment about how there was two members on my neighborhood council board who wrote some kind of legislative or something that helped with legislative federally. So it not only just did well in the city and statewide, they used part of that federally to protect California. And they just like in all, like, we wouldn't been able to do all this if it wasn't for them. And I was just like, wow, they really have some clout. So I'm looking at Anita. She does support that. She's into that, and then she's also into the homeless housing thing. She had I don't know if she had a nonprofit, but she had an organization, and she was working for um, that. She was supporting homeless needs, and I feel like the younger people in LA, especially the millennials and Gen Zs, may ride on her coattail because of
Okay.
those issues.
Interesting. It, yeah, I feel like had she not made it to the runoff, that would have told me right there she had no chance to win to win re-election. But I don't know. It just feels like the fact that she made it, like if she's as bad as people, I don't know, do
Right.
people have short-term memories, or it's just you angry for the moment, and then after a while it's like, okay, I'm used to it now. I'm calmed down. I was mad, but now I feel better. Like she abandoned a lot of people during one of the worst times of their lives. How quickly did we forget? So there's no way she should have made it to the runoff. None at all. She should have been buried. If logic is the preceding thought here. Real
Yeah.
quick, the um, the gerrymandering vote California we had, I think was
Yeah.
last. Were you for or against?
I was
Okay, no,
for.
I don't want to do that. Or was it a good idea?
I think it was a great idea
Okay,
to kind of just like show Texas, if y'all want to play like that, we can too.
okay,
And then I was surprised to see the turnout because at that time I was doing a mail-in ballot, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go park and drop it off at my local voting place. That place, I couldn't find no parking anywhere. It was a line out the door. I
listen,
was like, whoa,
they came in, told you what they were voting. They weren't even hiding.
yeah,
They're like, and we're like, hey, okay, we understand it. Just no electioneering. It's called electioneering. You can't come in with hats or logos
right,
and say, please keep the rhetoric down. No, damn it. I was like, oh my God. Old
yeah,
war veterans and old mamas and bringing their
yep,
grandbabies in. They need to
all
see
the
this
time,
experience, the American rights. I was like,
yeah,
oh my God. But that is the resolve white folks have. They're bringing their grandchildren in to vote or witness the voting process. Do
Yes.
you see any of that with our people at all?
You know what? Honestly, when I went to vote last week, was it last week or week before? I went into the this time and voted.
Okay.
Um, Even the people that work at the poll, they were young people, looked like they were, I wouldn't say high school, but they were really younger people, white
Mhm.
people at that.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh," and it was an older black guy that was giving you the sticker, and plus Latino people. I'm trying to think, I did not really see, I may have seen maybe one other black woman in there at the time I was there, but it was mostly white people.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people mailed in their ballots.
Yeah.
Um, I know my aunt was pushing her son and daughter-in-law to go out and vote versus mail-in ballots. Um, I did remember with the gerrymandering though. I did see a mixture of people.
Okay.
And actually when I was, but you know what? I had to go to the library to drop off my ballot, and that's where a lot of people were going to. And I remember this black lady, she was getting in her car. We went at the same time, dropped it off, get in the car, and I noticed her car is parked in front of mine, so she had a bumper sticker saying F
Mhm.
Trump. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she is not playing. She is serious about this right now. She is mad." And I understand. So when I seen that, I said, "Okay, people are upset." But I feel like in the internet streets, we are distracted.
Okay.
We are not on one accord or one page. I feel like we are distracted with misinformation.
You care want to you want to get into some of those distractions or what you deem
Sure.
distractions? Okay.
Um, I'm gonna just the elephant in the room is about this Tether and FBA stuff
Talk
that's
about.
going on.
Thank you. I listen. I tell people there's internet and then there's real life.
Yeah.
But go ahead, please.
I want to say first off, Sammy Davis Jr., the most phenomenal, world loved entertainer, black man of the day. He broke barriers. He is actually of black Cuban descent. His mom, I think, is Cuban. His father is African American. I say that because back then, those days when you look through the Jet and the Ebony magazines, those old, and they have them online, the old art card, they didn't care about what island came unless you specify, okay, well,
Right.
I'm from Bahamas or I'm from Grenada or Jamaica. For the most part, they still identify as black.
Mhm.
And that's what it was a part of the culture. And even if you came to America, that's what you were a part of as the African American culture. I feel like the divide now is so we could be confused, disorientated, and continuously in the clouds fighting amongst each other, not realizing things that are going on around us, like the
Mhm.
gerrymandering, like changing these constitutional laws, like trying to get us to getting all these new private prisons built. So now when things happen, like unfortunately with Carmelo Anthony, he's going to now be a slave to the system versus being in his own life, living his best life because of a mistake he made, which a lot of times human beings, and I'm not saying murder is people just do that all the time, but I'm just saying in general, as a life process of things, we should, it's no, nowadays it's no, I can't think of the word, but there's no soft spot to correct what
Okay.
you have done. So now it's like, okay, you make a mistake, we throwing you in for life. It's like that movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin
Yeah. Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I feel like we're arguing about the wrong things at times and we're
Well,
not focused.
yeah. My pushback to them is like, okay, cool. Now, where's your network? Where's your political power? You have no political power. So if that's not the end goal, the end agenda, what do we? There's nothing to talk about. Everyone else has their own groups. They have congressmen they can go to if shit goes
Yeah.
left for them. We have nobody. Crump and Sharpton and Jesse's on his way out if he's not dead already. What are we talking about? So are there any parts of their argument you do give them credit for?
I would give them credit for having pride of who they are. If you're proud of,
Outside of that,
outside of that, no, because for several years I lived in New York. After I grew up in Detroit, I moved to New York.
Okay.
So I was used to being around the West Indian culture, the African culture, and for me, it was just like it was everyday life. I didn't look at myself as, "Oh, I'm different because I'm African American." Um, I did get questions like, "Oh, where's your parents originally from?" And I'm like, "Oh, Detroit and North Carolina." And they're like, "Oh, well, anything else?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know." I had to trace it, but maybe Gullah or Geechee from my grandma, and I don't know about my dad's side, but like that. I just know they're from North Carolina.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Oh," but they were inquisitive, like, "Okay, maybe you do have some Jamaican heritage. Maybe you do have some, um, it's more so Jamaican, I think that they would ask me about." But that's why I don't subscribe to that. Like a lot of my friends are like either Haitian or they were like one of my good friends. She's from Nevis. She moved back because she said she was not going to deal with this.
Fucking amount.
Yeah, she's out.
Okay.
um, yeah, they're just from all over the place. So I really feel like that's a distraction because there's a lot of stuff we're way behind in,
Okay.
which I could talk about later. But and I want people to kind of be aware of this because it is going to be important going forward. But yeah, we shouldn't be worried about that. That's just my attitude.
Would it be in our best interest to kind of ride their political coattails until we're able to get off on our own at this point?
Which ones? Who?
Um, it, Whoever is winning. I don't know. From the '60s on, at one point we were the blueprint, and then we kind of lost our way, and then
Yeah,
everyone else picked the blueprint and kind of made it tailored to their own specific culture and needs, and they kind of ran with it, which as they should. And then we just sat back for so long, like, yeah, we did that, and like, okay, you gotta get back in the race, and we never got back in the race, and now we're seeing everybody else reap the rewards, even though
yeah,
it's our blueprint, but they still put in their work.
yeah.
Now, for other of us that are left that don't ascribe to that argument, should we ride the Jamaican coattail political power? Should we ride the Cubans and the Haitians and Puerto Ricans if you're passing wherever the case if you got wavy hair? Should we do that until we're able to kind of congregate back on our own? Be like, okay, this is what we need to do now.
I feel like yes, because you know why they made that. That's a great point. I like that. You're absolutely right because if I think about the people we studied back in the past, whether it's W.E. Du Bois or Kwame Nkrumah, a lot of those people back in the 60s, even Malcolm X had to go to Africa. And
Right,
then from what I read and researched more right before he was assassinated and all, he was linking up with the Indian African from Kenya that they were vibing. They were talking about the same passionate things that they wanted, equality. And he was learning that this isolation from him being in the Nation of Islam served this purpose a lot of ways, right? But at a certain point, you got to go beyond that
right,
because it's going to keep you restricted in a certain bubble that may be beneficial and it may not be beneficial in the long run if you're trying to get something done or if you have
right.
an agenda that needs to be met. And I
Okay.
felt like Malcolm X was seeing that, and that's why he was going out to Africa and network with the like-minded people, the same
Mhm.
people who were on that one accord with him, or even W.E.B. Du Bois, who decided I'm going to go to Ghana, live the rest of my life there, and do what I need to do from here. And um shoot, even Paul Robeson from what I was
Paul
reading,
Robeson, that right? Okay, yeah,
he had to leave for a minute,
yeah,
and I feel like the more you have collectively behind you, the better. And I think that's the part that the other groups are learning, whether it's the Mexican Americans here in California, or whether it's the Nitya Raman who's learning that. I'm sure she's going to reach out to more of the progressive younger folks of various colors, whoever
okay,
will help vote for her in. Karen Bass even got it because when I saw the people behind her, they were all
hmm,
Latino. I know her person comes to our neighborhood council meeting monthly because they have like representatives that come and give us reports. She's Latino, her person. Um, but she also has other minorities that work for her too, Black people as well. But she's making sure that she's in their visibility so they could see, okay, I could trust her, or I know she's talking about what she's talking about. I
Okay.
call it the Fred Hampton approach, where he was trying to unite everyone together
Mhm.
for a bigger purpose, um, which makes sense because this is what is important, right? Not, oh, I'm the separatist nationalist stuff. That's what the far right, for the most part, uh, want us to be caught up in, so their agenda can be met with the oligarchs and this globalization that's happening right now, and it's frightening.
Okay. I like what you said. I want to throw you a curveball.
Okay,
Are black candidates the only candidates that have to come with the unity message?
no, and I give
Okay.
you an example.
All right.
Madami, Zora Madami in New York. Now, I gave you
I
some
don't know. Break it down for me because
break it
I'm
down.
still scratching my head at that guy.
He's smart. I'm gonna give him that credit. He's smart because consider if you look up what his parents,
Yes.
his mom, the film she made back in the day,
Yeah.
integrating in the culture, the Black American culture, which does happen in some of their uh, community, depending on
Hmm.
where you live. Probably mostly more so, I would say, the Indians from West India. I mean, West the Caribbeans that will maybe associate more with mixed with Black people more so than the ones India per se.
Hmm.
Um, but India has a big population in South Africa too, so I will go with that. His father, and he actually wrote a book because I was gonna write like a article about it, but what Idi Amin did back in Uganda is a case study to be studied, and his father wrote a book about that, about the nationalism part and how it's not when it's not structured correctly, it can crumble, and how his family, his father was disadvantaged and exiled out. So, given that being said, his father knew, like, okay, well, he probably seen that growing up. Like and I remember watching this episode he's with on Trevor Noah and how he lived in um, different countries of South Africa, including South Africa. So he knew that he was associating himself with Africans
Hmm.
and Black Africans, and he knew, like, when I get to New York, and then when I guess in New York, it was just okay. New York is like this little fishbowl. You're going to have to be around other people regardless. You can't really separate yourself. So for him to see him do what he's doing now, I said that is so smart. Like he peaked game. He didn't put himself in the nationalist bubble. He
Okay.
actually lived what his father had wrote about how being a nationalist could actually mess up, how it can crumble and fall.
Okay.
I don't know if people are so familiar with the Idi Amin story as far as how he got into power and then what happened from
How he
there.
kicked them people out, and they've been writing bad movies about him ever since. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
problem,
it's way more nuanced than that, but no,
yeah,
yeah.
he kicked the people out. And at the time I understood kind of like why he did what he did, but in the instance, he just like I feel like with Trump, I always coincide these two together, is that he didn't put the right people in to run the country better. To me, and that's why the country crumbled. And it was a more about his ego for me,
Hmm.
and I can't say I never met the man, but I'm just saying, like, from what I seen and read,
Hmm.
he took Ugandans backwards versus bringing them
Cool.
forward.
Okay. 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 Interesting. Interesting. Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to just jump around a bit. Where
Oh,
do where
sure.
do black conservatives go from here?
They can go to hell. No, it's okay.
Well, that's why I brought you here, goddamn. Oh, goddamn.
I'll say it like this. I feel like it's a grift, first off.
Okay.
But then I do know some people who are black conservative personally. They didn't tell me that, but I could tell by the conversation they are. And I'm just like, "Ooh." But I'm trying to understand their perspective of things, of why they feel the way they do. Is it because of the Christianity religion that they're subscribing to that's teaching them, which is another topic for another day. I'm just
Okay.
like, oh. However, I feel like, is this because they want to stand out? right? If you're a black conservative, you're going to stand out. Just like if you're a black punk rocker, you're going to stand out. And any other sector that you niche that you're not, there's not many of us in. Just
Mhm,
like a white man will stand out as a rapper if he
mhm.
gets into that. So it's like, do you want it for the attention purposes, and then are you grifting off of this? Because this is this is a good grift for you. Or
Mhm.
are you thinking of the long run about the value you're creating in society, subscribing to these type of fundamental mindset beliefs? Um,
Oh,
do you have
okay.
a plan?
So now I keep hearing the argument most people are conservative by nature. Okay, so then why is that a political ideology? If most people agree that, I don't know, be nice, be kind, limited government. I don't know what the four tenets of being a conservative is, but if most people are that, why is that a political ideology on its own when it's just being a decent human being?
Right. It's a grift.
So okay, well, for most you believe is a grift.
I believe it's a grift. I think
Okay,
people are kind of caught up in their values that they're doing the right thing, right?
okay.
But it's a grift because if you look at the top people who are running things, the different things you're hearing, I don't know, the different things you're seeing is not matching that fundamental value. I mean, I'd rather have a Buddhist run the country at this point because
Okay.
if if they're gonna run the country on the values,
Right.
we know a Buddhist is gonna run it right. Not
Okay.
these people who are claiming they're Christian and they're just totally not doing the Christian thing. Like, how can you allow someone to come in and remove a whole agency that helps the USA, the you said?
Listen, when he got in the office and started making those executive, every day I heard from this woman. Every day,
Mhm.
people she knew for years lose their jobs overnight. I mean, I heard all the horror stories, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this is really bad. And I saw people laughing
Yeah,
like,
that wasn't cool.
and I get it. Government is bloat, expense, it's waste. We're used to that. But there's a part where you pass egregiousness, and there is a
Right.
policy. There's a proper ways of doing it. They got rid of their union. They no longer have a union, so they're now on like procedural
Are you
points and stuff.
serious?
Yes,
For the federal government?
they no longer have a union, girl. How's that even legal? How do you dismantle a union with
In
no
federal
vote?
government of all places.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you do
And
that?
federal government was a flex back in the day. They'd be like, "Girl, get you a government job. Get you a federal government job."
Even worse, now the black women that took those federal jobs that fed all these families, now they're out of it, and everyone's like, "How are you laughing at people losing their jobs? I
Yeah,
don't understand." The federal
right,
programs they had access to because of their work and their jobs, and I'm like,
right,
what is wrong with us as a people?
right.
I forgot my goddamn question.
Oh.
I got something all over again.
No, I understand, that's triggering.
Okay,
It's horrible.
the Democrats. What
Ooh.
what the fuck?
Okay. I am I call myself a progressive independent.
Okay,
But I have to, a lot of times I do vote on the side of Democrat. However, uh, I'm so frustrated with them. I wrote to, I remember hearing one of your lives. I actually wrote to my congresswoman, and my senator
oh wow,
back in March. I wrote to them because I was just so annoyed about this war thing, and knowing veterans and how they were. I saw one who had PTSD and he was regressing backwards.
okay, oh wow.
Yeah, because of all the stuff that's going on. And I was just like, this is not, what the hell are y'all doing? Why are y'all just sitting here letting him do this?
Mhm.
And I wrote to them. I say, I will find every way of my power to get you guys out if you don't do anything about this.
Mhm.
So that's when I realized my congresswoman, she had a town hall. And then she explained some stuff. So I don't know if it was from my letter only or it's just a lot of complaints she was getting. But I
Okay.
want to say, like, and she was on the voting roll in June. Uh, but Senator Schiff, I got questions. Now maybe I should write to Senator Ted Lieu. I think he might be in my area too, because he seemed like he's more about it. But Schiff mentioned some things, and the leather. I just didn't like how he replied back. As far as it was like he was kind of scapegoating too. He said, "Well, we
Mm,
did this, but the Republicans voted against it." Okay, you keep fighting. That's my attitude. Then he's like,
mhm,
"Well, Iran is, it's not perfect. Iran, they have done this and done that, but that's okay, maybe so, but that's not my concern right now. My concern is about why you are doing this to them
mhm,
and thinking it's right,
mhm,
or why are you allowing Trump to do this to them? You
mhm.
know." Um, I mentioned about the sanctions. He lifted sanctions for Russia and the oil. I mentioned about that. I said, this is like compromise, right? This not compromise, it was treason. Like to me, it feels like treason because you're basically giving another country access and opportunity for more things that were put sanctions on them.
Yeah.
Aren't they fighting Ukraine still? Like what's going on with this? And I wanted some answers. And I just felt like he didn't answer what I wanted to hear. And I feel like that's a lot of the Democrats right now. I don't know why they're like caught up in a cloud. To me, it's a cloud. Like they're not discombobulated. They don't know how to handle these things because they never
Mhm,
really been in this type of circumstance. So
mhm.
instead of doing fight or flight, they're kind of like just deer in headlights. Okay, well, and then it's like stuff is getting worse day by day.
Okay, I remember growing up when I did catch politics, when I used to hear my dad talk about it. Democrats were a force to be reckoned with. When did that
Mhm.
change?
I feel like that changed after Obama, honestly,
Oh,
for me.
okay, okay,
Um, I feel like Bill Clinton too, as I was growing up, he had clout. He did a lot of things, kept the country afloat. Um, and for the most of the years I grew up, it was Reagan. I just
yeah,
remember a lot of the things that, like in Detroit, I wanted to be in the music. I wanted to learn how to play an instrument.
okay,
Um, but the music program I had in my public school, they got rid of it. But I was told it was a lot of done to bring in budget cuts as well. And I was just like, ooh, growing up, as I learned that, I was like, oh, that's bad because I could have been a really good musician. That's what I was thinking back then as a kid. But, or the arts program was cut. So I was one of those creative kids. So I was just like, so I just remember him not really doing things that were great. But when Clinton got in, I just remember a lot of things were getting, to me, visibly better. Yeah, there was some issues here and there, but as a young teen, young adult, didn't really affect me as much. But going into the other Republicans that took over, or going into, I was even Obama as an adult. I look back now and I'm like, man, I took that for granted. I kind of, and of course, people first think about, oh, Gaddafi. Yeah, yeah, okay. But he managed crisis so well, like the Gulf oil spillage. I remember when that was a huge issue. And it was just like he just knew how to handle things that I feel
He
like
didn't
that.
panic. He never showed panic or
No.
worry. So if he's not worried, then what the hell? Okay. And
And
he
he
wasn't.
had the
He's
team people. He had
yeah,
the right people on his team
yeah,
because he know he couldn't do it all on his own.
right. He was non-reactionary.
Yep.
Just just kept a cool head the whole time. I'm like, well, shit. Okay, well, I guess it ain't a big deal. The Fukushima thing. Okay, we're good.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dang, yeah. Gosh darn, yeah. Whew. Well, us Gen X been through some stuff, right?
Now you sit and think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the time for the Democrats to kind of like bring in the new blood, shore up the
Yes.
defenses, and like, okay, when we go away, you guys got it. And I think they failed to do that.
I think so too. And as Gen X, and me and Gen X, I don't know, like what you experienced in the workplace with the boomers when we were younger and the certain leadership positions or management, or trying to learn jobs for them to train us. It was a hit or miss for
Hmm.
the most part.
Hmm.
A lot of them will hold on to that knowledge. They'll keep it in their brains, or right in the pad, but it's kind of like you said, gatekeeping. They didn't really want to let me mentor you and you become this next I feel like our generation maybe so are doing that a little more to the younger people if we have the skill sets and capabilities to
I
do it.
believe so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're like, let me show you. No, don't, let me train guide you. And I feel like that skipped our generation from the boomers because they were so protective of their things, protective of their positions and
Yeah, they want to die with all the money in the coffin. And
yeah.
it's not like you want to tell people you need to give up your goods for the next. I mean, it should be something you would automatically do. I mean, these are your kids too as well. Why would you not do that? You're not going to take it where you're going, but I don't know where that mentality came from because the silent generation gave everything to the boomers.
Yes.
And
Right.
without the silent generation, none of this. I don't know. What do you do with that? Do you just wait for them to die off? Because that's what it sounds like. These corporations just waiting for them to die off to get the money anyway. And when I see them lose their homes to eminent domain, there's a guy in Arizona,
Yeah.
85-year-old home or 108, 120 some odd year old home in Arizona. And they're like, no, we offered you money. Now we're going to take it. He's had this home for 85 years. You're like, no, 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 no. I'm like, but you're a boomer. That's my first thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
boomer, sir. I don't feel bad for you. I shouldn't
Right.
be this way, but that's how I've become indifferent to boomers and their plight. Um,
Me too.
okay. California. Let's talk about us.
Yeah.
Is it worth black folk even trying to run for mayor of their cities at this point because we're so outnumbered with all the other ethnicities? Is it just best for us to pony our resources on somebody that we think would do right by us or not forget us and be like, hey, here's some money, you know, look out for your boy? Is that the only choice we have out here, honestly?
I'm questioning that now with Karen Bass and Nita Ramen,
Okay.
right? If it was Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass, of course I'm going Karen Bass.
Okay.
But with Nita, I feel like the word progressive, and then look at her experience, she being in the city council, and then her having some background in which things she's trying to do. I'm like, maybe we do need some new energy to come in because Karen Bass is old school too. She's
Hmm.
coming from that old Democratic. She's been in Congress. She's been all these different places that I feel like once you're in those circles, you kind of get acclimated to their type of regiment, either beliefs or practices that may not be beneficial to the people and what's going on currently.
Hmm.
And I'm battling that right now because a
Oh.
part of me, I know, like being in neighborhood council and her person representative comes and tells us, like when she first got in, she opened up some jobs in the city, which was, I was surprised. She was like, oh, there's job openings, but there's not enough people applying for the city. And I was like, well, let me take a look, see what's there. It was nothing really in my interest, but I
Hmm.
did see a lot of jobs in the city. And I said, oh, wow. Uh, he said, "Oh, sorry, I see his comment. Some of them have written off their kid." Oh, ooh, yeah, that's crazy. Um, and then she was really trying to do something about the homeless situation as well. She went in there and demanded this agency do another do what they have every year. It's called homeless count. I participated in a couple of years, and where you have residents who volunteer and go out, and we actually go and count the homeless people that are out in the living, whether it's in RVs, encampments, and we take a tally and they submit this back.
Hmm.
And it seemed like the number count that we got that year with her was much better than what the numbers were reflecting before,
Hmm.
with the mayor Eric Garcetti. Um, which he rode off into the sunset. It's
Ain't heard a
like
peep from
he
him.
Pete. I mean, like where is this energy? I remember when I was arguing back and forth with the and no offense to him. I mean, he's passionate about what he believes, but I just thought about like you really going in on Karen Bass, but where was this energy for Eric Garcetti? Um, and actually, I ask people too when they go in on her about the house, the fires that happen in Altadena. I think they're like incorporated and managed by a county, Los Angeles County Supervisor Board. Where's that energy for that person who's
Hmm.
running that?
Hmm. So is it too easy to blame Karen Bass per se? She's just she's an easy target. Okay.
I feel like it is. She's
Okay.
an easy target. Um, she definitely didn't have. Now, there's controversy about if she knew ahead of time or not what was going on. But I will say, if I'm not mistaken, I think at the time when they were talking about they cut back the fire or
Right.
I remember she was restructuring the budget because she was trying to put more emphasis on the homeless, um, ending the homeless crisis.
Okay. So let me be done with that. So you want to take money from the fire department to combat homelessness? I'm not for that.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it this way. If you could work with what you got
Well,
as a leader, because they're cutting budgets all the time. How do you work with what you have at that moment? And where was the state
okay.
at this point? Gavin Newsom and his people. If you know these are things that are going on,
Mhm.
because you know the like fires be happening in Orange County all the time in those areas, and
I remember during my fire seasons, we would pray for fires. Like, I know it sounds morbid. We didn't want nobody to die. We didn't want people to lose homes. We knew when a fire popped off, we're getting paid. And the bigger the
uh,
fire, the more it burned, the more money we're making, fighting these fires. So um it's weird. It's a weird relationship. But let me ask you, how would you fix the homelessness problem? We're in one of the most expensive states in the country. Um, I'm hearing reports. Some people go up to homeless people. They choose to be there, and I will believe that. I would firmly believe there's a lot of homeless people that choose to be homeless. There's a weird sense of freedom that I don't even want to try to explain, and I somewhat get it. But how would you, if you could snap your fingers and Thanos this thing, how would you fix the homelessness situation?
um, I actually mentioned it to my congressman, Tim McCoster. We had like a meeting. It was a homeless meeting. I said tiny homes. So um, I had this vision a couple years ago, like why don't they just build tiny home communities in certain areas? And it could be isolated where people who don't have the means can live, but live comfortably or live like sufficiently according to their income or anything like that. I do know at the VA, they do have a little area. So I guess it's probably because it's federal, it's protected. So they have for the homeless vets, they have this area where they stay in little tiny home community.
Mhm.
And um, that's one way I thought maybe could be helpful versus them being on the street. And I got to walk by the Dollar Tree and this guy is swinging the sword, going off and talking to himself,
I
right?
hear you. I hear you.
Those type of things. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh gosh, do I feel like putting up with this today? So um, he said, well, I remember him saying, we can't do that because it's not zoned. We're not in that zoning, or it's not zoned for that. And I'm thinking, like, well, change the zones, you know? And I remember I was in another meeting and they, I actually asked them because this is when I just got in. So I was this brand new, like, neighborhood council person. I was passionate about the homeless thing. And I was just like, so can y'all account for all this money that's going into this fund for the homeless? Where's this money going to? And it was kind of like silence. And it was like,
Mm,
and I said, well, is it going to consultants? I said, just like that. I said, because it doesn't need to at this point. How many consultants you're going to pay to try to figure out the problem when we already know what the problem is?
mhm,
Let's just get into, I felt like the bare minimums, which was find some land, find an area that's either state owned or city owned or even federally owned, and just put little places, little plots up, communities, and get security if you have to. That's
mm,
jobs for people to manage and, run it like a little town, I guess, a
mhm.
little area. But at least it will keep people safe and people um not coming so far into our neighborhoods, and because that's what I'm seeing now too, is more the mental health issues.
Okay, that was my next question. So what do you do? Do you diagnose them all, and do you give them treatment and allow them to, once you've been diagnosed and we know what your issue is, okay, and this tiny home section for schizos, this tiny home section for
Yeah.
bipolars, or okay. So then after that, you get them squared away. Do you train them for work? Do you put them to work?
Yeah, if you want to, some of them do. I know, like I work with veterans now, and a lot of some of them, the population they're coming from rehabilitation. So, um, um, what we do is we have certain programs that give them some incentive to work, to train
Okay.
them.
Okay. Okay.
And if they're interested, they'll do it. And if it's money, a lot of times people, if it's free, something for free, or if it's money involved, they will sign up and do it,
Okay.
even if they may not want to do it forever. But the purpose is to get them some type of skill set, and we don't know what type of impact that may lead to a person in the future. Because even like recently, I was training someone. Um, with gardening, and they thought, "Oh, what could I really get out of just watering the plant?" He actually said that, and he told me. He said, "Well, I was thinking like, okay, what?" And he said, "Yeah, you're right. It is therapeutic." He said, "I've seen the birds enjoying the after I was watering the area, and they were coming over and drinking the water, and that made me feel good." And I said, "Yeah, there you go." I said, "Yeah, and you're learning how to water.
Yeah.
You never know where that's going to take you, you know."
Hydroponics. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Cannabis, shoot, it's
See?
still right. It's still a field, right? Cannabis is an industry here. So, um, I feel like that's the way it could be if they're interested in funding that. If the need is interested in funding the solution rather than funding the problem.
I I'm with you. I think the tagline you would need to convince them, or I think most people want to contribute to society, want to feel useful. I
Yep.
think that's the tagline you use to get them in. Like, don't,
Yep.
aren't you tired of not feeling like you want to be productive? You want to help contribute, whatever, grow society. I think most people would. It doesn't matter how menial the job is, as long as they feel they can see what they're putting the efforts to and actually having an effect. I think most people would sign up. But the homeless veterans, that's the numbers. Why is it that bad with the homeless vets?
What I see out here, yes. And there's a lot of reasons too. From what I'm speaking to different veterans, it could be job, losing their job. It
Okay.
could be, and the housing is out here high. Um, it could be, and that could impact your credit if they don't have good credit, and then they need a down payment for rental assistance or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, which a lot of veteran organizations will have funding, or used to have a lot of funding for that, but now that's being dried up in some way. So, you know, um, how do they get around these different little day-to-day issues, along with if they're fighting alcoholism or drug addiction or
Right.
mental health issues?
Right.
And to them, it's all clustered, and it's just a bubble that pops, and they're just all over the place. But um, it's day by day for them because there's a lot of things, PTSD, that war that happened, the Gulf, what they call a Gulf War,
Mhm.
um, the second one, I've just seen the veterans that come from that, it did do some impact. So I'm just why I'm praying that we don't have a full-on boots on the ground war now, because I can imagine what that particular generation will go through coming back, having to deal with the atrocities of war. Um, yeah, so just those different issues and them not balancing things. Let's say they get on their feet, relapse, then they lose everything, or their family, their wife leaves them, and the kids, and they go homeless, or they have to start all over again. And some of them want to be in denial too, like, oh, I can manage this, and then they're out in the street and they're just doing what they're doing. It's a lot of that out there, unfortunately. And California's a nice place. It's warm, the weather, the
Yeah, our winters are
space.
not extreme. You could survive outside if need
Yeah,
be, if it got cold for the most part. I get it. Like,
exactly.
if you're gonna be homeless, not too many places better than
Yeah. New
Cali,
York, you don't
Nevada,
wanna be home.
Arizona.
Right,
You
and you
know,
don't wanna be
Jesus.
homeless in New York because you live in the subway with the rats. I seen it. It's like, no.
Well, good segue. I want to talk to you about New York. Um, I don't know
Go Knicks.
what do you see from New York? I I I
Oh,
see the haves and have-nots get wider and wider and wider.
really?
Well, I only say that because I'm going off what I see social media wise. I
Okay.
see people are paying $100,000 for Nets for Knicks tickets. I'm like, well, shit, they're not hurting for money. So who's complaining about living in New York?
It's always been like that, though.
Okay, talk to me.
So, I was there from, like, '95 to 2012. Then I moved out here in 2012. So, from all my time and then too, yeah, I was in the military. So from that time being in New York, it's always been that class thing from Park Avenue
Mhm.
to the Upper East Side, Upper West Side, even Battery City, downtown. Uh, they would think, oh, people with money live in Manhattan, while everybody else lives in Queens, Brooklyn, the
Right,
Bronx, right?
right.
Um, I always seen that class division. That's the one place where I saw it the most. However, being that I've seen, how would I put it? Being in New York, I think was really a great opportunity, survival of the fittest. And what would you ask that question again about how what did I
Well,
say?
what I'm seeing now is more separation. Like, and I saw the numbers, all the people leaving New York, moving out of New York. I'm like, okay, those
Mhm.
are people that can't afford to live there. Like
Right,
when I'm seeing multiple people, yeah, we spent 55,000 Knicks tickets. My kids wanted to go, so I had to do it for my kids. We spent 100,000 for box seats. Like, okay, so who's complaining about the price of New York being too expensive? Like these people are fine with it. And like you just
right.
saying, it's always been like that. So I just think social media's kind of made it more prevalent about who's really got money in New York and who's really doing it. And it's I don't know. That's why I was asking, you know, um, New York moving forward. What do you see? More of the same?
Honestly, since Madani, I'm not a fangirl or anything, but I just feel like he is really trying to fix a broken system there that may benefit more working class people. That's
Okay.
just from what I see right now,
Okay.
because I was getting a lot of things on my timeline from his office where he was doing something every day. I was like, does this man sleep?
Mhm.
Because he was constantly going to this place, going to the Bronx, going to Queens, talking about changing this road because someone there's so many accidents on here, or talking about changing this for mental health. Like he got his hands. Even it was one about the bathrooms because
Okay.
I remember that. Now I was like, there wasn't really no public restrooms you could go to just to go. You had to go to a restaurant or a store if they allow you to. He was building something where you can have restrooms now. I think they might be coin operated because they're like that in Europe. If like in Germany, they had that coin operated restrooms, but it kept it clean and they had somebody working there and stuff. So I'm seeing like his vision. And I'm like, oh, he's really trying to get people to come back. I feel like because
Mhm.
for a minute I felt like, oh, maybe I should move back to New York, but then I just realized I like to drive and I like
Okay. Okay.
I like the sunshine. And I don't like smelling urine all in the streets. So,
Smart move. Smart move.
yeah, and the tacos, you can't beat the tacos in California, I'm sorry.
You know what's funny? You know how hard I have to look for like good barbecue, and I've found none.
In California?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
so
you gotta go
like,
to Texas for that, huh?
yeah, I'm just disgusted with California as far as I mean, listen, I take the good with the bad, but I've yet I never heard of a tri-tip until I moved out here. I'm like, what's a tri-tip
Yeah,
sandwich? That's all they serve. I'm like, tri-tip? What is this? Oh,
right,
you'll love it. You'll love it. I'm like, this ain't, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, this ain't
right.
no damn barbecue. Um,
Exactly.
okay, so let's talk federal.
Okay.
Um, are you watching any of the primaries nationwide? I think there's 7 primaries going on right now.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Texas has a pretty hot contest. Talarico versus Paxton.
I just feel like we'll see if Trump still has clout if his candidate wins, right?
Okay.
because I know his candidate that was going against Massey in Kentucky beat out Massey, and I was
Yeah.
surprised because as much as people on that right and all that be yelling about Massey is the man, he's fighting the cabal, he's about this, he's the true one. For him to lose like that, I was
Mhm.
just like, "Ooh, Trump still got some clout." I don't
I
know with the money or what.
Right. I think Paxton wins because I believe Texas will cut off its nose to spite its face.
Okay. Mhm.
Um, just to prove, just to, mm, I think that would happen. But
Interesting.
um, once Trump is out of office, then everything else is up for grabs at that point. But until he's in office, I believe Texas will hold the line because if they falter, that's it.
Yeah.
I think Texas is the only state right now really holding up the Trump regime to that degree.
Yeah.
And if they fall, it's going to be a domino effect. It's going to, and the Blues will blood in the waters, and I think it'll be lights out. But
Mhm.
until that happens, I think they're just gonna, no matter who you put, and there's no way Paxton should. That guy, I mean, his background is like, make sure you should be in jail for.
Yeah.
You should be in jail, sir. You are a
That's
predator. So,
that's
uh,
yeah. That's
um,
crazy.
how do you see the midterms?
Ooh. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of propaganda online. Vote blue no matter who. And people are gonna do it because they're frustrated.
Okay.
And just seeing what I seen, well, California's always been California, but just seeing what I seen as far as the people turning out, I feel like it's gonna be a lot of blue waves that we're gonna be surprised to hear about. I think in Maine, Plattner's gonna get it
Mhm.
because people are tired of Susan Collins not having a backbone, um, and she just going along um, with him. I think
Right.
in South Carolina, Nancy Mace, she even lost out because Trump wasn't supporting her anyway. And then not only that, I mean, she's running for governor, so she lost out. And I was like, "Ooh, very interesting." So people are waking up. I think it's the more it affects their pockets and their bottom line, they're going to go with who they think is going to fix it. Just like in 2020, I felt like people were really upset and they was like, well, they're going to go with Biden. I was like, oh man, Biden again. I mean, well, not again, but Biden. That's all we got. We had all these other choices. I was so mad, but I was like, you better go vote. And I was
Listen,
just like,
I remember Bush Jr. and then Obama came on the scene. I said, "Oh, people were angry then. They were ready to storm the castle." And Obama came in and said, "Hey, I got a new regime for you, and we're gonna take care of you." And they just like, "Okay," and he
yeah,
calmed everybody down. Oh my
I'm
God.
telling you, I was on that Obama wave. Oh my gosh. My ex at this, well, he's my ex, but my boyfriend at the time was like, oh my gosh, this is all you, and he was older. So he's like, I gotta see who this Obama guy talking about. I'm like, Obama, Obama, Obama. And I was just always talking about it. And I remember me and my friend, me and her, we took the little Chinatown bus from New York to DC during
Okay.
inauguration. It was cold as hell. It was cold, but we went there. We seen Bush and his and the first lady Laura get on that helicopter, and they
Yeah.
left. And we saw the President Obama and Michelle Obama walking down, and he's like not as tall as he looked on TV. He looked kind of medium size. I was like,
Okay.
oh, and my friend, she got us like, because she was just complaining alone the whole way, like, it's cold, it's a long, that's why I'm tired, because she worked the overnight shift. I'm like, no, this is a history, a moment. We gotta go, we gotta go. And we got on it. But as soon as she seen that Obama air, I don't know if it was just the Obama! I was just more hyped than me. I was
Hey,
like,
that man was the first rock star president,
yeah,
bar none. You ain't gonna see nothing
why
like him
not?
ever
Never
again.
again. Never. And I blame when we say I blame Rock Nation, I blame Obama for
Yeah.
what we in now. I'm sorry to say, because his swag was just so uh to us, his swag was a swag, right? And
Hmm.
if you have it, you have it.
Hmm.
But for one person who seemed obsessed with it, it was like, so now he's Thanos ruining the country and the world because
Yeah.
he wants that admiration, and it's just not. ordained to him in that way. And I hate to say it, but I really feel like he was jealous of this young intellectual black man. He was young at the time that just got all this admiration, but he just had the swag. He was a Leo. He's a Leo. He got this. He got the charm,
Yeah, some
right?
people just have it, and there's nothing
Yeah,
else you can. There's no need to explain it. He just has it. You know.
exactly.
Okay. I didn't vote for none of those bums for governor.
Okay, I think I remember hearing you saying that before. Yeah, you mentioned it.
It doesn't make me feel any better. But what am I supposed to do?
Are you gonna vote now for the finale?
I don't know. Let me see how I feel in 4 or 5. Honestly, I'm over it. I'm to the point where I'll ask you this: does California need to go red at this point?
Ooh, no. Remember Schwarzenegger? Was you here when Schwarzenegger was governor?
Yes, I was fighting
How was it?
fires. I was praying for fires. What? Yes. I got a letter from Schwartz. Thank you for your firefighting effort. What? Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I need to go back and revisit his terms, and maybe I'll see things differently. But during then, what? Yeah, I was. You can tell me I'm getting money. Like this, he opened the floodgates for us, and
Mm,
basically, they gave us a budget, the firefighting budget,
okay.
and if we didn't use it all up, we lost it. So now we're like, well, no, we need to burn through all this. And so now then you heard stories about people setting fires to kind of make so we can get the money, keep getting the monies in. You
Oh,
understand? So all forest fires ain't natural. I stand by that. But you got this budget, you need to burn through it. Because the first thing they're going to ask is, why are we allocating this money to you and you're not
yep.
using it?
See, just
Same
like
thing
in
with
the
your just like in Midwest states when they the salt in the trucks. Well, why am I
yeah,
allocating all this money for salts and it never snows? God forbid you get a bad snowstorm and then everyone's like, where are the salt trucks? That's exactly why.
right.
So you don't want it to go back. Well, okay, would you really consider California red under Schwarzenegger? But was it really
His
red?
wife she's a Kennedy, right? Maria Shriver was a Kennedy, so I didn't really feel at the time, just me knowing, because I don't think I was here yet
Okay.
when he was governor. So from my perception, looking on the outside, I was like, okay, because I felt like he had that Kennedy type influence as
Hmm.
well. Maybe his
Hmm.
wife helped him kind of be a little more moderate,
Yeah.
conservative, like what would they call conservative Democrat, like more of that line versus what I don't want to see is the MAGA far right Republicans. And
Okay.
I feel like a lot of them will not serve a purpose, even though and like those it was this group called the John Birch Society, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like they infiltrated the Tea Party, or they elected their people to be Tea Party members, and then now the Tea Party members became MAGA, and I feel like that edge of what they're doing is not helping the society at all, to me.
Hmm.
And if we get something like that in California, I feel like California will just burn to the ground.
Okay.
Um, I feel like also with Gavin Newsom, they were jealous that we were able to maintain, let's say we as a state of California was able to maintain afloat even when Trump came back and started doing all these executive orders and knocking out different things and cutting programs and everything. People in California, the prices might have been still high and may have increased somewhat more,
Hmm.
like our gas and stuff. However, he was still keeping California, to me, as what was it? GDP was the biggest from what they were saying globally or something like
I think
that.
we're up to number 4 now, but yeah, worldwide, yeah, we're always top 5, top 7 in the world GDP wise.
Yeah, see, and that's because we still had Hollywood. We still got the agriculture community, and shout out to the agriculturists
Hmm.
because they keep keeping us fed. You know, um, I feel like it was a lot of things, even with the electric car stuff. Oh my gosh, had I known like I remember people were talking bad about it, and I was like, but now seeing it, I'm like, God dang, I should have got in on the electric because of the gas now, you know?
Okay. Do you see the gas getting much higher? I think it hits $8.
Ooh, it could.
It's already 7 in the valley. Well, not the valley, but out in the desert. It's already 7.
In the
And that
desert?
was it was 7 when I went back to Illinois, I don't know, 2 months ago. It was already
Yeah.
7 and some change in the desert. But the desert prices always are always high.
Okay.
So you kind of before you hit that, I don't know what interstate it is, but right before you get out to there to Barstow, that area, there's
Yeah.
one major gas station. I forget the name of the city. Oh God, I don't know, but you never stop for gas in the desert if you don't have to. But there's always
Oh,
high. But it was
needles.
yes, needles. Yes, needles. Yes, and it was 7 in. So
Man,
I think
needles?
I think it needs to hit 8 in the cities for I think people to be like, okay, now you're playing. Because until right now, I just paid 6 a gallon for the first
Yeah.
time last week. I cursed a whole lot. But guess what? I put $50 in that bitch and I got my ass on it.
Exactly. It's like you gotta do what you gotta do. You gonna
Right. So
think
now
you gonna cuss
Walmart
the
got it down to 5.17 and
Oh,
I
that's smart, girl.
I
Okay.
think it needs to hit $8 to $9 a gallon in the cities for somebody got to say, bruh.
Yeah. When it hits that, it's gonna be a riot. Like people gonna be mad. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Cause I think where I'm at is 5:45.
Okay.
And then going like if you go West LA, it's like 6 and up. It's close
Okay.
to 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely high. And it's I used to pay only like maybe 50 the max for my car. And now I'm paying a close 70 to
Okay.
fill it up.
Okay.
So $20 more. It's
Okay.
yeah.
So Bashara or Hilton, who you want? Or who you think will get the job done?
Because Hilton is Trump back, I'm going with Bashir. Anybody that Trump is putting his stamp behind,
Okay.
no. So that was the reason why like Spencer Pratt, y'all need to get out of here because I'm just like to me that's like a bad juju to
Well,
look what he
does
did
it
with the Knicks game.
okay, well, I was going to ask you, does it depend on what state you're campaigning in if the Trump endorsement helps you? Because I think it helps you in Texas. I think it helps you in those
Kentucky.
states where he still has some leverage, but California, I don't think that doesn't help you.
No.
You know? Okay.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. In California, I don't think it might be a couple people that like him, right?
Hmm.
But as far as the majority, no. And especially like since he wants to cut a lot of the environmental programs. I remember that was a big issue in my neighborhood council meeting about them trying to remove this protective land spacing around Santa Barbara area and they
Okay.
want to start drilling.
Okay.
And they're like, well, Santa Barbara is far from the coast, the South Bay. Why are you concerned? Well, because that will affect the marine life and everything else that's around there. And these people really care about their
They don't
coast.
fuck around about that coast.
No.
I don't think people really understand. They don't play. Like if it's an endangered flower, butterfly, what? Endangered species? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Let me tell you, it was something like that about this amphitheater they wanted to build in San Pedro, and there was a debate about the sound, and will these sound waves affect the seals, and why we need maybe not to vote. And I'm thinking like the next vote though, I was like, this is before was this before the fire happened or after? It was something about a food hub group because I'm
Okay.
all about food insecurity, and it
Okay.
was about a food hub group out in Venice that was asking each neighborhood council in LA to help contribute a certain amount so they could get this van that they could deliver food to the not
Okay.
homeless, but to the hungry, food
Okay.
insecure people. I mentioned my part and said I think this is a good idea to contribute. Um, Given on the situation of food insecurity and what's going on, prices are going higher. They heard me, but they voted against it because to them that wasn't as important. They figure, well, if they're in Venice, let the people in Venice help them more or those areas. But I'm like, it's going to affect us overall. But they
Okay.
didn't see that at the time.
Okay.
However, that same meeting, you're voting on, okay, well, we don't want the sound waves to affect the seals. and the other mammal life. Oh, yes, nay, yes, 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 yes. I'm looking at them like, so seals are more important than the community of trying to help people eat, or just to get a van going so it can travel better and deliver this thing to more people. I was really perplexed, but like you said, these people don't play about their coastline.
Not at all. I admire your resolve. If the average person would have quit once the seal vote went through, I'd be like, oh, this ain't for me. I'm out. I'm hanging up my hat. Y'all got it, man. Y'all got it. What keeps you going? Because that would have been it for me. I'd have clicked on a live. These
Yes.
motherfuckers put seals are more important than people. God damn it.
And they cute now because I roll on the boat. I seen them on the rocks, and I'm like, oh hey y'all, hi. But I'm sitting here like, I don't think they care about the noise. Okay, but um, that's a good question, because there are times where I just kind of tap out. And I feel like maybe I shouldn't do it no more. And then there are other times, um, I guess maybe not necessarily the accolades, but the encouragement from my people in my circle,
Okay.
when they find out I'm in it, and they're like, "Oh, girl, that's good. You're doing something good for your community." I'm
Okay.
like, "Well, I'm trying,"
Okay.
like. But I feel like I'm being heard a little more now. I did mention one recently earlier this year. We had like a retreat, and we was gathering ideas, and I mentioned about cleaning up the community. Like, in our area, do we have a cleanup committee? Like, we could spend a day where we grab our tools and we just go sweep up, whether it's extra leaves on the ground or trash, and pick up some things. I know one of our central, uh because we got Northwest, Central, and Coastal. I'm in Coastal, but I know
Mhm.
Central does something like that in their neighborhood.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should look into that." And then I saw in the meeting notes for the next meeting that I had missed that they had brought it up again. I said, "Oh, good. So they're on this about cleaning up the community." Another thing is because I kind of want to remain more visible as a person now. I'm getting more out there, face out there, because I
Good.
really want to spread awareness about food insecurity and learn how to grow your own food. I am a gardener by trade, a horticulturist, studying that, and just knowing these principles about how we're going to have to basically go back to kind of the old age in learning how to grow or source our own food in a lot of ways
Okay.
will be very important, because we just don't know what's going to come down the pipeline.
Mhm.
And with this war, um, that's affecting like the fertilizer that comes in to the agriculturalists, that's going to raise prices, the gas, the transportation, a
Mhm.
lot of things we got to think forwardly as far as how we're going to be self-sufficient in a government that's trying to make us, I don't know, just kind of like just don't give a damn about us at the end of the day.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Let me ask you this before I let you go. White folks, politics is sexy. Black folks, politics is not sexy to us. How do we change that?
I think like what me and you doing, I
Okay.
like the idea that you having where you're having more conversations with day-to-day people. I'm looking forward to hearing Nate. I call him Nate, but Nat's from Texas, because he's from
Oh, Nick,
Detroit.
Nick, Nick,
Nick,
Nick,
I'm
Big
sorry,
Nick.
Nick.
Lord have
Yeah,
mercy,
Nick.
Lord.
Nick Taylor. Yes.
Maybe some of
It's just
y'all, maybe not should not. Y'all should catch. Some of y'all might have to catch the replay because he gonna say some things, and I'll be like, he is his
Nick is
own man.
Nick. Nick. Oh yeah, he's an old school Detroiter. Now he's a Texan. I don't think he's been in Detroit that long anymore. He's a full Texan now. He can't claim the 313. I'm just messing with him. But I like how you're going to have like different people. When you had Techie on, I
Yeah.
loved it,
Okay.
because I like Techie was talking sense,
Okay.
right, to me. When you had Siova on, I was mad. Not mad at you, but I was just kind of like, Siova, really? This is the agenda you're gonna go? But Siova, he's on his own thing, right?
Yeah.
But to hear various different opinions from people, I feel like that's a great start, because it's us. We're not being sponsored by anything. You don't see us breaking in and reading an ad for a water bottles. Drink your water today, and then come, like sometimes that gets annoying.
Hmm.
Right. And I feel like a lot of channels are doing that now, where it's always an ad, it's always a read, it's always something. And at a point too, they're getting very um tunnel vision into their own agendas, right? Versus really solving the problem. You could talk about what Trump did every day, but are we going to talk about some issues, how we could work around it while he's doing this stuff?
Okay, so I made mention that every election there's all these little bitty offices people you can run for that people didn't even know existed. Even I was like, what is this office,
Yeah.
department of this? And I'm like, oh, that sounds like something I could run for. So
Yes.
um how do we I don't know, how do we train and condition the next generation to get into politics and start running for these local offices? Because everything's locally starts locally
Yeah.
there. Fed's gonna do what the Fed's gonna do for the most part. But
Exactly.
you know, take account. I mean, I hate to say it, but the Carmelo Anthony thing,
Yeah.
you didn't research who your DA was, who the
Yep.
judge was, who the sheriff was. You didn't research who these people that could, God forbid, your child ends up jammed up, or if you need a favor, who could you go to? You know,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
situations like that is, I think, is tantamount that we need to get reacclimated back into politics how we used to on the grassroots level. I know it's not the prettiest thing, and she doesn't, you know, she's not, you know, tits and ass, and he's not 6 feet tall, but to them it's everything, and to us we're always there late. So, do you
Hmm.
see more and more of younger people getting into it, or should we just start demanding our young folk, look, go minor in poli sci, whatever your major is, fine, but you're gonna do this part. Is that how we should? I mean, I don't know. What does that look like to you?
Definitely we should push them
Okay.
because right now they're not going to see the importance of it. When I was younger, I didn't really see the importance of it as much as I was aware, right? Self-aware, or my mom, dad would tell me, but at the same time, it wasn't until these issues started affecting me personally as an older person, I
Okay.
started saying, "Oh, shoot." And then if I learned back then how to get involved, you got your school board, um, you got your traffic boards, you like my friend when she got a ticket one time for her tinted windows in Michigan, she went and got mad, wrote to her legislator, and he said, you wrote such a nice letter. You should look into running for a board. And she ran for a board in Birmingham at the time when she was living there, and she got in, and then she was
Wow.
able to see how certain things happen, and that interests her into going to politics and or maybe run for school board. She didn't win, but it was a lot of controversy with that, but she was at least open and interested. I still try to encourage her to go because she encouraged me to do this, and I would tell people start locally, whether it's your like school board. I'm trying to think, like you said, traffic board,
Mhm.
um, community outreach, whether it's going to the food banks, helping people, working in community gardens, whether it's doing things, the commerce, even the commerce where they run businesses, because this is where what are coming into your area, and if you have a say so, do you want um, what they call those big things that they feel like is a problem, those data
The data
centers?
centers, yeah.
Yeah, people have been complaining about that. I forgot what area in LA that the members of the board was like, no, we don't want that, and they voted out.
Vote them all the members out. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it does have some effect, and I feel like locally is where it's at. Once I heard about the environmental board member who helped put this legislation in place to help protect California. And he didn't even want that like the accolade. He was just kind of like low key behind the scenes about it. But to know like he's did make a difference,
Mhm.
that serves impact. I feel like day to day people are going to make the impact that they want to see versus the people that they're showing us right now
Mhm.
or the people at the way top. Because a lot of times it gets diluted. It's a lot of interest involved. It's a lot of corporate entities and PACs sponsoring them, and they got to go with the program that's paying them, right? Um, and even I like seeing how certain people coming in. I will give Spencer Pratt a shout out for even trying to run, right? I will say that. If you feel like you say, if you're mad about it, go run. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, at
Just
this point,
take
what
it.
do you got to lose? I mean, the experience alone was. I mean, open your eyes to so many different things and the networking and the people that you're going to meet. You never know 5 years down the road, like, hey, I remember I voted for you. Here, let me help you out. What are you working on now?
Yep.
So and I personally would love to run for an office, but I know where I'm at. I'm outnumbered. I'm outgunned. Um, I've said some things online that will rub people the wrong way. So I know this shit's going to backfire on me. Maybe 10 years ago when I was, when I didn't have this digital footprint, but I would
Oh,
love to have the experience to run. But I think I'm just at a point where maybe I might be a liability, you
no,
know?
I don't think so.
I don't, girl,
If
I'm the
you
oldest.
stand on your business 10 toes
Listen,
down and say, "Look, yeah, I said it," and because at this point too, listen, have you noticed those people who stand there, they stand in their business, they still look at Graham Plattner. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I text these women. Okay, yeah, me and my wife got some issues." Because before when that happened, you remember that lady back in the day, that politician with that lady,
that
Donna
was,
Rice, was sitting on his lap and he had to go?
yeah. Well, you know what? I think back to Gary Hart
That's
when
him. Yeah.
he was the man, and those photos came out, and they just,
Yeah.
I think no matter what defense he would have given that time,
Yeah.
it wasn't going to work for him. Like, everyone was ultra conservative, ultra Christian. Like, how dare you?
True.
Like, it didn't matter what he said. I think it was just a bad time for him. If he did that now, he'd be all right. But
Right. Yeah.
oh
Yeah. If you
yeah,
stand, we're in the now, and that's what we should focus on. What works for us in the now. I think
yeah.
people want us to be more honest. They will accept us for our mistakes if we own up to them. It's like I feel like Sawa, I don't really know what the issue was, but had he just said, I messed up, but there was some other allegations that, have to be taken seriously. But had he just said, just let me fight this out on this side and I'm gonna run anyway. But because he had all this heat from Congress, that's another thing that pissed me off about these damn Democrats in the Congress. They act like they're still going by that ideology of 1990s
Mhm.
politics when you got a whole other sector on the other side that's saying, hey, yeah, we invaded Venezuela. I don't see anything wrong with it. Yeah, we starving Cuba out, that type of thing. But you got, it's, oh my gosh, did you just say that? And it's so annoying. So I see why people are frustrated,
Mhm.
right? And I think a new party does have to come in, but it just can't be the Jill Stein Green party who shows up whenever she wants. She needs
Okay.
to kick rocks. I feel like it just needs to be a whole new, maybe that working party people that come in with Letitia James and Madami, and maybe they can have it more global, nationally, where people who are really about that life. And yes, and they're gonna be like, oh, it's socialism. Hey, I ain't heard nobody from Sweden, nobody from Norway, nobody from Finland complaining
They don't
about their
complain.
socialism.
I give you that. They don't complain.
No, they're happy. God damn it. We ain't happy. Grazing in the grass happy. I'm like, God dang, can we be like that for
Can we run
once?
in the grass? Run around there.
Right.
Okay. 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 I've had you on for 90 minutes.
Okay.
Where can the people find you, support you, whatever endeavors you're supporting? Please tag yourself, shout yourself out. Where
Thank
can the people
you.
find you?
You can find me here on my regular channel, Roz Roberts. I have got old stuff on there, but my other channel is Garden with Roz. That's my whole gardening channel. I'm talking about food security, uh, giving helpful garden tips, because we're gonna have to eat if we want to live. But and it's not like it's just helpful how to grow your own foods, self
Yeah.
sustainability. And other than that, I do have a podcast that I did with my best friend. There's some episodes up on Spotify called "Catching Up with R&R." So we talked about politics.
Okay.
I just got to upload some more episodes we did. I just the editing part, man. But yeah,
Listen, welcome to our world. Yes, editing is it'll make or break if you really want to do this or not. That's
yeah,
what that yeah, it's everything.
that's so true. Yeah, so yeah, that's where you can find me. So I appreciate anybody wants to join the community. If you want information, because I don't gatekeep, I'm always sharing information. Even if you want to know about how you can run for different things, I guess, I'm just here. Yeah. I'm a open book.
Well, I definitely thank you for coming, but come midterms, we got to have this conversation again.
Okay, yeah.
And so we can discuss the backlash, aftermath. I don't bloodbath. I don't know what, at this point. I don't know what to expect, and so I
Me
definitely
either.
want to have this conversation again with you.
Awesome.
Midterms time. I humbly, thank you so much, big
Yeah, thank
sis.
you. I appreciate you for having me on.
Yes. So go ahead and get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night, girl.
All
This whole
right.
time I'm thinking you're in Atlanta. God damn it.
All right. Happy Friday, everyone.
All right. Well, you
Bye.
have a good night.
You too. Thank
All right.
you. Bye.
All right, y'all. That's Roz Roberts. I enjoyed that conversation. I guess Nick is up next. So whenever Nick gives me the word that he's ready, I think that's the one y'all really waiting for is Nick anyway, which y'all should be. We'll get that one done, and I'm gonna reach out to I think RC and Club Fortune. I definitely want to have you up to the plate as well. So I'm looking forward to having more conversation with you guys and seeing how you guys see your political landscapes. Not about me, it's about you guys. So I'm here for it. But once again, thank you, Roz, for coming through and blessing us as always. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get something to eat, and I might come back and do a late stream, Hollywood stream. Michael has basically caught up to Bohemian Rhapsody, I believe so. So I think I'll come back in another hour or so, and we'll discuss the Hollywood stuff. All right, see y'all in a couple hours. Y'all have a good one.